camera. Say hi to the camera. I honestly don't know how to start this video, so I'm just gonna start this video off by saying hi, welcome. I have like 11 subscribers here right now, which is kind of amazing because I haven't posted about starting a YouTube on my Instagram or my TikTok yet. And I actually had a goal back in 2020 when I first got this camera that I wanted to start a YouTube once when I hit 10K on Instagram. I hit 10K and then the imposter syndrome settled in and I just didn't feel ready. And I don't know, I just feel like it was pulling on my heart a little bit more. And I've been on a journey with growing closer to God since I would say a year after Ryan and I moved here. We started consistently going to church, but I would say it wasn't until like mid-year last year, towards the end of year last year, that we really started getting closer to God. And I truly feel that this is my calling, this is my purpose. I feel like I do have a lot to share. I'm not like your average gal. Before I already begin oversharing, let's just quickly go over like the basics, I guess. My name is Sarah Ashley Harper. I'm a wife since 2023. Time is flying, it's insane. I feel like I got married last year because we went on our honeymoon last year, but we got married in 2023 and went on our honeymoon the year later because I don't know how some people do it with paying for a wedding and then going on your honeymoon exactly right after. Like, that's insane. So we waited a year before we went on our honeymoon. I would say it was definitely like a dream location. We went to St. Lucia and we stayed at Sugar Beach. Gorgeous, absolutely stunning, met some amazing people there. And then we did the other like half of our stay at Sandals in St. Lucia, which I felt like was amazing because Sugar Beach it wasn't like an all-inclusive typical resort. It didn't really have as much like activities as if you would think if you were to go to an all-inclusive resort. So it was great because we got to go to like two different completely sides of the island. Like Sugar Beach was like smack daddy in the middle, and then Sandals was like all the way at the end of the island. So we got to see the entire island, which was amazing. I'm honestly just gonna talk about wherever my heart takes me. I may be all over the place, and if I am, I apologize. I'm definitely just a little nervous, and that's kind of why I'm starting this, because I want to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That was one of the goals that I set for myself this year, and as I was explaining earlier, I truly believe that God is gonna allow me to speak about what needs to be spoken about. And I prayed this morning that whatever I talk about today is something that somebody needs to hear. Ew, I'm gonna get emotional already, but I definitely had a really rough upbringing, and I just feel like sometimes I feel ashamed to share my story, but then again, it's like my story can definitely help somebody else out there that might be feeling alone and feeling how I felt as I was going through it. So yeah, here I am just trying to overshare again. we haven't even got to know each other yet. Okay. So yeah, we covered the married part. I was born March 18th, 1996, so I am a Pisces. So yes, I am an empath, and yes, I am very emotional. I'll have like a mentee bee or two every single month. It's just, I think, in my nature at this point. I cry about literally everything. Like on the way to this baby shower that I had earlier, I saw a poor little deer on the side of the road, and I immediately started crying because I just was like, how did he feel in those final moments? Was he suffering? Yeah, so needless to say, I'm an empath. I feel like because I had to grow up and be an adult at such a young age, I don't feel 29. Like I feel like I'm still like 23, 24 years old, still just, figuring out and just wanting to kind of live life, and have fun. But I will say that getting older isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I would say that I'm living like my best years so far. I would say I'm finally feeling more at peace, and obviously getting closer to God has a huge part of that. But I'm in my dream home, a home that I would never have even imagined growing up. I have an absolutely amazing husband. Like, he has been my rock, and yeah, as any other couple, we've had our ups and downs. I'm not saying we're perfect, and we've been through a lot. I'm not saying he's perfect, and I'm not saying I'm perfect either, because I'm definitely not. But we've made it through a lot of tough times, I will say, and he's just absolutely amazing, and he's going to be an incredible actual human father one day, because we do have a fur baby. His name is Hunter, and obviously I need to show you a picture. He's a shepherd mix, and he's absolutely perfect, like legit the most perfect, smartest, cutest boy ever. I love him so freaking much. I rescued him in 2019, so he's 6 years old, my little baby. He's getting like frosty on his like chin, and people keep pointing it out. I'm like, can you not? Please? Thank you. Because he's just everything to me, needless to say. I could talk about my dog all day. Let's chat about why I started this channel, my plans for this channel, and yeah, so like I started this channel, as I said, because back in 2020 when I first got this camera, it has always been a goal of mine to start this channel, but I would say that everything happens for a reason, and I know I probably didn't start my channel back then because I had a really bad relationship, not only with myself, but also health and fitness. Like I didn't feel confident. I just wasn't living aligned with my life, and I felt lost, and I just know that if I had started this channel then, something probably wouldn't have went right, if that makes sense. It probably would have been a lot harder for me to start it. I probably would have overthought everything. I probably would have stopped and started this video like over 500 times already and then given up. I'm kind of just letting my thoughts go, almost like a brain dump. Just kind of how I am. I didn't really come into this with any structure. I just was like, I'm just gonna sit and chat and yap, and whatever comes up, comes up. But yeah, so I just feel like I have a lot to share with not only how I grew up, my mental health and how I overcame that, my inner health, like my gut health and that journey, my fertility journey, and things that I'm doing for that. So I plan on sharing all things health, fitness, faith, mental health, my life. I want to share like obviously the fun parts too, because on Instagram and TikTok, I kind of just feel like I'm not put into a box, but I'm sharing almost kind of similar, like the same things over and over again. Not that it's bad, because that is my passion. I'm so passionate about health and fitness. Like it actually did change my life. And I just feel like nobody knows me. So this is just going to be like a creative outlet for me to just share more about my life and have fun. So yeah, I just want this to be like a fun, safe space for anybody that comes here. If you have mental health issues, if you feel alone, I just don't want that for anyone. And I want you to know too that you can change. I was a completely different person, I would say a few years ago, somebody that I'm not proud of and don't love, but you know, God forgives you, and you have to forgive yourself too. And I would say that has really helped me, just leaning into forgiveness and asking for forgiveness for things, because you know, sometimes you really do act the way that you act because of like what you've seen growing up, and sometimes you don't know that, especially when you're young and you're figuring it out still. But it's just important to kind of like have an awakening and realize, like, you know what happened? My frontal lobe developed. That's probably what happened, honestly. But you know, sometimes you have to go through these things to realize I don't love the life that I'm living right now. I don't like how I feel when I wake up every single day, and I didn't love myself, to be frank. I just want to be more vulnerable, share more about me and who I am, because there's more to me than health, fitness, gut health, and all of that jazz. Like there really is. And I feel like sometimes that gets lost in like translation. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but I feel like when you work really hard to grow something or excel in your career, like you get so focused on that you kind of lose sight of who you are and what makes you happy and makes you excited, other than just work. So speaking of work, I am a health and fitness coach. So I have my nutrition certification, I have my fitness certification, and I'm also in the process of becoming a certified wellness coach as well. I'm definitely in my wellness healing girl era, my soft girl era, which is definitely needed because I've been living in my masculine for way too long, which is definitely probably part of the reason why I've dealt with all the inner health issues that I've dealt with. I ended up working at a law office after high school, and I was going to school for paralegal studies. I realized I didn't want to sit behind a desk all day. And I think you kind of go through these things and you don't feel like you open a door, but then you kind of just feel like the road ends and you kind of just like hit a blockage. I feel like that happens when you're not living in your purpose and doing what your purpose is. And that's probably why I kind of like started something, ended something, started something, ended something. Stopped working at the law office, and then I worked at like a petroleum company. So random. In between, I always wanted to do something for health and fitness, but I would say that relationships that I've had and the relationship that I was in, I didn't feel really like encouraged to take that leap towards becoming a health and fitness coach and getting my certification. So I kind of just put that on a back burner, and I wasn't believing in myself until I met Rye, and he really encouraged me. I believe that God gave me him to bring me here where I am right now, and he pushed me to step into my purpose. I grew my business. I do have an LLC. I got that like 3 years ago, I would say. Yeah, I think 3 or 2 years ago. I don't remember. But yeah, so I do one-on-one coaching, and it's been the bestest thing ever, but it has definitely been like the hardest thing ever. I had to learn a lot. I dove right in head first, and I think I used work as like almost like a scapegoat to avoid how I was feeling internally and mentally, and I didn't prioritize anything around me, like my relationships with everybody, like not just Rye, like friends too. Like all I wanted to do was work, and it was bad because it got to the point where I was working like 7 days a week and I wasn't giving my brain or body a rest. I would just go, and it definitely affected my nervous system, and it ultimately led to me crashing out, burning out. I felt like it started happening around my wedding year, when I then had something else on top of my plate, not only getting married, but then also being a new time homeowner, which is all amazing, beautiful things. But I do feel like it's not talked about enough, where you kind of go through this season of almost like shedding like your old you, and you kind of have to mourn that a little bit. Like you kind of feel a little sad around that. It's like you're growing up, you're becoming an adult. Again, all beautiful, amazing things. But I would say that the adjustment between like moving in our home and then also getting married and stuff was a lot. And I, on top of that, was dealing with burnout as well. And then shortly after that, that's when my health issues started to arise, with feeling completely fatigued all the time. My acne was flaring up even more, like my jawline acne. I was constantly bloated after, like, it felt like everything, like I could eat a piece of lettuce and my stomach would blow up. But I think what really drove me to like be like, enough is enough, and start looking at what's my inner health, is because of my acne. Like I hated my acne, and I also didn't like how thin my hair was and how much my hair was falling out and how tired I felt too, like the brain fog, sensitivity to light. Like I would get in my car and I'd be driving and my eyes would get so heavy. Like I like would be worried that I'm about to like fall asleep right then and there. Like it was crazy. So, but yeah, I would say the biggest thing that drove me to look at my inner health was my jawline acne, even after seeing a dermatologist for a very long time. And getting laser treatment. I did topical stuff. I did do antibiotics, minocycline he prescribed me, which I didn't realize was an antibiotic, and that can disrupt your gut, which can then like lead to other issues, which I never knew when I was on it for 6 months. And then he prescribed me spironolactone, and he definitely suggested other like medications, but that is just a band-aid to the actual issue. What was driving the acne, that was nothing that was discussed with him. And I always just felt like I didn't want to take medication, especially the spironolactone, because I heard that that can have like severe side effects. So immediately I was like, no. So I think that right then and there, that kind of like started my journey towards inner health, and then my wellness girly era. And I would say that this is definitely my favorite era to be in. even though it's hard right now because I am gluten and dairy free, I would say that this is my most amazing era because I'm healing, like not only like internally, which is a whole other story because I'm still in this journey. And on this journey, working with a functional practitioner, I'm waiting to get extensive blood work done, which will give me more answers, and then schedule a call with her to see what's going on. But we may be thinking it partially a nervous system dysregulation amongst immune suppression as well, because one of my issues was also getting sick, like I would say every other month. And it's tough, especially if you're a business owner. Getting sick is not for the weak because I also would put so much pressure on myself to answer clients like right away, which is another thing that led to burnout. It would be like a Friday night and I'd be answering messages at like 1 in the morning, 12. I would never shut my brain off, which isn't good at all. And I think that because of how I grew up and growing up very, very poor, it kind of like made me afraid to have that life for myself, that I became like a workaholic essentially and did everything in my power to just like work, make money. But that actually in return kind of just, it was almost like a form of self-sabotage, because then once when I hit that burnout, I like legit couldn't do anything anymore. The year that I got married, which was obviously a very expensive year, I like, not that I didn't want part of my business anymore because I love what I do, I just felt like I didn't have the energy to do it anymore. Like that constant need for money and working so hard out of scarcity of like not having enough is ultimately like what led me to like self-sabotage, if that makes sense. I would highly recommend reading The Secret. That was definitely like a very like life-changing, eye-opening book for me. But then I would also say reading the Bible and growing closer to God is definitely something that is gonna help you, especially if you grew up in a similar circumstance with, I don't want like saying being poor because I feel like that's a bad way to put it, but I mean, we grew up very poor. My mom always had some stranger living in our house to rent out the one room. So we had a 3-bedroom, very small house. Fun fact, I was part realtor on the selling of our home. And so I was at the open house. I did take down the pictures so that people coming in didn't see and know that like, hello, like I like live here. A kid walked in and said, "Ew, mommy, this house is gross. This house is disgusting." I was standing right there. He didn't know, obviously it's a kid, but kids have no filter, but I'm like, yeah. And it wasn't like disgusting as like hoarders, disgusting, dirty, disgusting. It was just outdated, I would say, and very small. Anyways, so we had 3 bedrooms. Actually 2 of the bedrooms I think were added on. My mom's bedroom was added on and then my sister's bedroom was added on. But like my sister's bedroom was at one point like my bedroom, my brother's bedroom, my uncle's bedroom, and my sister's bedroom. Like all of us living in there at once. My one uncle, he lived down in Sandy Hook, and when Hurricane Sandy happened, like it completely wiped him out, and he's older, so my mom just had him come live with us. So now that's like 4 people stuck in one room. I was constantly sleeping on a couch, or I would say at my boyfriend at the time's house. I was always there not wanting to be home. I mean, can you blame me? My brother was a pigsty. The room was constantly a mess, and I can't live in a dirty environment. It really does affect your mental health. Like having a clean environment motivates you and makes you feel good. Dirty environments they make you feel anxious and they don't make you feel good. And then the one other bedroom, my mom would rent out for extra money to help, make do and get by, because my dad and my mom are divorced, if you haven't caught on yet. Right now I don't have a relationship with my dad, another story. Abandonment, definitely would say I had daddy issues too, and the older you get and the more like open you become to seeing what issues you may have, the more you're going to be able to heal. I would say like that'd be my best form of advice, is to be open to triggers. And when you are triggered and this like if something small makes you feel like a big reaction, that is a trigger, and you need to stop, reflect, ask yourself what just happened, and your answers will come to you. You could even ask God, why am I feeling this way right now? And the answers will come to you naturally. That was like a big part of my healing journey. It's sad that these behaviors are learned. Also, your parents are also living life for the first time too. My mom and I have like the best relationship now, and I'm really grateful. I think everything happens for a reason. And my mom's even realizing that a lot of like how the reason why she is the way that she is because of how she was raised. And like I always thought that too, which is why I always gave her the benefit of the doubt and why I never was quick to like cut her out of my life. Even though we even had a bad relationship growing up, she always made sure that we had a roof over our head, we were fed. And yeah, I have some crazy stories, honestly, especially about like the strangers that lived in our house, but that also made me feel unsafe in my own safe space. Like what was supposed to be my safe space, the house, just I felt unsafe there. I wouldn't say that I fully feel safe in my body. Like I still think subconsciously there's things that need to be worked on, which is why I'm still dealing with gut health issues, infertility as well. Our honeymoon last year, I was a little drinky and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like I'm ready, because Ryan was ready yesterday. Like he was ready like 4 years ago. He's just so ready to be a dad. And on our honeymoon, I kind of was just like, I was just feeling ready. But then I got scared. So we stopped for like 2 months after that. And then I was like, okay, like I'm ready again. And then I kept going back and forth. I mean, I think that you're just never gonna feel fully ready. I feel like I am ready for that chapter, but then I'm also not ready because I'm afraid that like my inner health, something needs to be like focused on right now, which is why we're having issues. And then also like financially too, like you want to make sure that you're in a good spot, especially because I don't want our children, which I know will literally never happen, but it's just that belief that I need to work through. I never want our children to go through and feel like what I felt. I feel like I just overshared a lot, and I'm sorry this was so all over the place. I kind of don't even feel like I finished one point at all, but this is just me. Honestly, I think that it's also tough because my camera keeps overheating and it only lets me record 5 minutes at a time, so I need to figure that out. Like I'd be on a roll and then I would have to stop this because it would overheat, and then I would have to like backtrack and remember what I was saying. So yeah, I mean, needless to say, I grew up very, very poor and had lots of debt before I met Rye. And while I was dating Rye, I had lots of debt. When I lost my job, you would think that I'd be even more debt, but it helped me actually get out of debt because I started living in my purpose. I started chasing after like what like my actual purpose was. And yeah, once when you start following God's purpose for your life and you start serving others in one way, one shape, way or another, is that the saying? One way, shape or another, everything will work out. It will kind of just feel easy. And it did feel easy for a little bit, again, until I hit burnout. And when I hit that burnout, the same things kind of happened with like finances and stuff. And we're like working towards getting in a better place. I want to be for real with finances too. It's hard as an adult. It's hard when you have a home because it's one thing after the other. It's hard after you get married, especially if you're paying for your wedding, like mostly by yourself. And your honeymoon too, especially if you want to go all out, which I feel like you should for your honeymoon because you only get one of those. And I am just chasing after my dreams and starting this YouTube channel and just hopefully being able to connect with other people that are either going through something similar with their inner health healing journey right now, or going through something similar right now that I went through in the past, which I obviously want to talk more about. Maybe I'll do different topics so that I can stay on topic and not jump from one thing to another, but that's my life. Thank you for watching. And really quick too, I would say that you have to really just figure out the root cause to everything. And unfortunately, my childhood did play a huge role in how I was feeling. I didn't take my power back. I definitely gave my power up to the problem, and I played the victim for many, many years. and I was kind of running away from actually dealing with what I was feeling deep down because I was afraid of what would come up and how I'd feel. Rightfully so, because then when I did slow down and try and work on what I was feeling with therapy, hypnotherapy and stuff, that's when like panic attacks started to arise, anxiety started to arise. And that's because of just suppressed feelings that were never spoken about when I was younger. And I definitely didn't know how to emotionally regulate either because I wasn't taught that too. You can't run away from your issues forever. You have to deal with them head on. And until you deal with them head on and decide to take your mother effing power back, you're gonna stay stuck, to put it blank. Straight up. You just have to take that first step. And when you take that first step, you're gonna notice like a big difference. It's gonna be really, really hard. And I hope that, you know, you have somebody in your corner to support you as you are going on that journey of just learning more about yourself, discovering the suppressed feelings that you're feeling. Hypnotherapy is what really helped me with that. It wasn't until I started seeing Susan, she's a hypnotherapist, and oh my God, I'm gonna cry. It helped me uncover a lot about myself and what I was avoiding and just not feeling lovable enough, which is why I would try and self-sabotage my relationship. And yeah, you have to deal with your inner health issues. And I know I keep saying that, you just have to deal with your issues. Otherwise you're gonna stay stuck telling yourself all these stories that are simply not true. They're not your story. They were your story for a little bit, but they don't have to be your story forever. I'm just gonna end it here because I keep just yapping. Okay, bye.